Hey everybody, Marissa here, and my dad, Papa. His name's
Joe
Papa.
Morris.
We are here
I
a little bit late. I'm in a class right now that I'm super excited about. I'm learning AI. Steve probably just went, "Ugh." My stepdad does not like AI. A lot of people don't like AI, but I'm learning all about AI right now, and it's very, very interesting. Anyways,
anyway, we'll just do a little
get this
short show
background
here
off.
today because I just did a post on Facebook saying that you're in this class all week long. We might not even have a chance to do any shows. And then you came on, and while we were off the air, we were talking about all these different things that you're working on and with people and everything. I said, this is what you should be sharing with others. So here we are. So anyway, you were just telling me about how you were sharing something with one of your clients, one of your, I don't want to call it patient because you're not a doctor, but a client.
Student slash, yeah, and I do
Student,
for
whatever. You're talking about a student and trying to describe, I guess, humanity in a way. And I was telling you that Caiaphas finally agreed in his letter in the book of Nicodemus, a letter that he wrote to the Sanhedrin, that he made the mistake. He realized that Jesus wasn't human and that he was divine and he truly was God. I mean, who else could do that? Who else could rise? Who could rise up on the third day? You know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, he rises on Sunday, and it scared all the troops and everything. And Pilate's letter covered all of that. He said he had 100 troops there. He had 100 troops there to guard one little cave that had a rock
troops. Like
in
a
front
troop
of
is
it.
like 100 people, right? Like, I mean, a troop
He had
is not.
he had a combination of his Roman soldiers and the Jewish soldiers to guard that cave, when all of a sudden there was like a little boom, and they thought it was an earthquake and the rock was away from the opening, and then all of a sudden this big bright light came up, and then they saw like three magical beings within the light, and it scared the crap out of them, and they all left their posts and ran away. There were a couple that stayed, and one person asked that, how come he didn't go to the cave? You know, when everybody ran away, why didn't you go see what was going on in the cave? He says, I was too scared. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. So, I mean, the whole thing about Jesus is real. It's true. People can fight it and say, you're religious. You believe in Jesus. Well, you know what? Jesus was the maker of our entire universe. You know, he has another name. His name is Michael. And so he came down. He had to be a human for a while. He had to see what it was like. He created us. And now some of you who go, wait a minute, the Anunnaki created us. No, well then who created the Anunnaki? Okay, so he created everything within the universe, and then including humans. And he had to live the lives of his creations in order to get supremacy over his universe. And the very last thing he had to do, besides being an angel and a spirit and a Morancho, he had to be a human being. And so how they did it, how they got it into Mary, how his seed got in there, well, we're pretty advanced now. We know how easy it might be to put an egg inside of somebody and grow a baby. But how do they take the personality of Michael and put it into that sperm that goes into that baby? Or into that.
And then when he was 6, so it's the everyone's the spirit of the earth up until they're 6, and then the spirit of the soul enters into the body. So it just projects through like a light beam. Just projects through.
Like, so we're like, tell us a little bit about what you do when a client calls you, or a student, an upcoming student, a future student, or whatever. If somebody contacts you, how does that go? What happens?
What do you
mean? When somebody contacts you and says,
I've
seen you.
I'm just kidding. I said I hit ignore. When somebody calls me, I'm like, the phone's ringing.
Not calling. Nobody takes phone calls.
Yeah, I know. But
unless it's from a family member.
But when someone calls me,
but if somebody contacts you and then you contact them back, how does that first conversation go? How are they understanding what you're doing, or why are they reaching out to you? What is it that people are looking for when they come to you?
They're looking for relief from like the lowest low they've been in their life. They can't explain why they feel low. They can't explain why they haven't felt this horrible since they were 15, or, you know, they usually have like an age. They'll be like, I haven't felt this bad since I was 15 years old and I got broken up with, or, you know, something like that. And usually it leads back to a spirit attachment at that time that they're now resonating with here for some reason or whatever. But usually they're calling because, I mean, I've had at least 10 people say that they practically tripped and fell and tripped over like a business card of mine, like on the ground in a shopping, in like a store or something like that, or, you know, they just, or a friend referred them or something. But when they call, I just basically ask, so what's going on? And I say, do you want me to prove to you that I'm psychic right now and tune into your energy, or do you want to tell me what's going on, and do you want me to, you know, connect with your higher self and channel your higher self? That's basically what I ask them. And a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, tune into my energy and tell me what you see. And this is assuming that we have an appointment or whatever. If I'm just calling to like talk to the person, usually I just, you know, I don't usually call them. My assistant does. But if they schedule an appointment, I usually just ask them, do you want me to be a psychic or do you want me to be a channel? And they go, well, you decide, or, you know, whatever. And so usually I'll just tune into their energy and I'll go, okay, this is what you have in your field. You have a spirit here. So I always tell them what they have in their field. That's the first thing I always do. Kind of like how I go like, okay, these are the guides that are here. You know,
Just out of curiosity, do you ever start with a prayer?
I do.
Or do you just go right into a session?
No. If I'm going to do a session, I say a prayer before the session. I do like a 30-minute meditation before. So I pretty much do the healing before I even call the person. Because when I call them, basically I can say like, okay, these are the cords you have. I removed these cords. I did this. And it's done so fast. The guides do it so fast that like I can do the healing in like the blink of an eye, but I can sit there and describe it for like a whole hour. And then they did this and they did this, but it happens like that. It's like so fast.
I'm thinking, you know, not to tell you what to do in your business, but it would seem like it would be important to bring that person into the prayer instead of just praying for them and then just showing honestly, up.
I haven't done in-person session. If I do in person, I always pray. When I do like a reading over the phone or whatever, I do them in groups. I do a prayer before with everybody in it. But, you know, I don't actually say a prayer with, I guess yesterday I talked to Brittany. She's in the hospital right now and she's battling cancer. She's the one I channeled the music for her last night. And when they came through and they told her, you're cutting off our divinity by seeing us as a father and a mother and a son. You're cutting off what makes us God by seeing us as people. And that's what I was telling you about and that they were saying. And I found that interesting because, I mean, so many people go, oh, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or the Virgin Mary. It's like, we're calling God a virgin. Like, God's not a Virgin Mary. Virgin Mary had, I almost said Matthew, Jesus. But it's like, we're humanizing it too much. But in regards to the prayer, let's say a prayer right now. I'll say a prayer real quick. Okay, Heavenly Father, God, there I said Father, Christ and Holy Spirit, we ask that you surround this room, surround this house, surround Papa's house, his room, disconnect us from anyone or anything that's attached to us, especially me. I was just in a huge group of like 7,000 people probably. Just disconnect me from any energies that I was in the group with. Anything that's not for our highest and most good, we just ask that leave now. Calling in our higher selves, our highest higher selves to channel today. And I don't want to channel spirits or any lower personalities. I just want to connect with Papa's highest higher self and my highest higher self, because I want to ask a question about God. And keep me in my heart, keep me out of my mind. Amen. And Papa too. Amen. All right.
Okay, thank you. Now, you say you were meeting with this student of yours who has got cancer, and you know, I hope she can get over it.
She beat it. It was gone, and it came back. So
she can beat it. She can beat it again. So when you're talking to her, do you bring in her soul? Do you bring in Jesus? Does she believe in God? Does she believe in God? Yeah. Does she believe in Jesus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does. She converted.
Do you bring Jesus and into the sessions like we do here on the air?
What I do is I connect with that. I do that thing that I said in my books. I do like zero heart, zero ground, zero source. Basically, I just zero myself out to where I'm just like connected to God. And so I just say, take me into me. I need to be in order to connect with the all, the everything, the unnameless, you know, God. And then I say, God, show me what I need to see first. And boom, I'll see something like somebody will land and I'll be like, oh, it's Jesus, you know, and then Show me what I need to see second. And maybe I'll see a cord coming out of her neck. I'll be like, okay, she's got a cord coming out of her neck. Okay, show me what I need to see next. So I'm just asking God to send down in order, the first 5 things I need to see. And then I'll tell him, okay, your first guy that came in was Jesus, but he was a fake. So we're going to release him. We're going to call him the real one, or, whatever. And then you got a cord attached to your neck because your dad abandoned you when you were 6 and, left you at a playground overnight and never picked you up until the next day, or, whatever. I just kind of go through that, and I let God decide. So I guess I'm channeling God, but I don't like saying that I'm channeling God, because then I feel like I sound like I'm some pompous, like, oh, let me go talk to God for you. I'll be right back. Like everyone can talk to God, but everyone hasn't taken the time to train themselves to move their consciousness out of the way so that they can verbally channel what's coming into their mind and discern all the different frequencies that are coming through. But and I have taken the time to practice and practice and practice and practice. But yeah, I guess I talk to God. I talk to God with you when we connect. Jesus always comes in. I always see Rosemary. I always see all of our guides just like hanging around, That's just because that's our energy together. We call in certain energies. If I ask God, what's the first thing I need to see between you and I, like I usually do with clients, I always see this thing. What in the world is that thing? It's like this big tube, and it looks like a candy cane. What is that candy cane? And you guys, why do you always show it to me? He said, that is the real you connected to the real earth, and God is all around you. Oh my gosh, should we look like an ornament on a tree?
But I'm wondering, when you're with your clients, what is the goal?
What's
the goal? Yeah. What's your goal? Do you have a goal when you sit down with somebody?
My goal is to connect them with their higher self, remove all the blocks between them and their higher self. So I tell them, look at it like this. When you're born, you're standing on the top of your head, and you're like on a little balance beam up there on the top of your head. And it goes kind of between your ears. There's a little pole. And so I say, you're standing on this little pole, and you're just like, la, 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 la. And you're born basically. Oh, first you're born and you're just God. And then when you're 3, that's when your little consciousness comes down and kind of lands like on your head. So now you're an actual like being. And what happens is the first time you get smacked or hit for something that you didn't do wrong, you get knocked down from grace, from where you are on grace, and you fall down into reality. So that's when we start to build our ego and our personality and stuff. And from there, that's how we build our personality, based on what's being done to us in the world or how we're being treated, until we're about 6. Then we start basing ourselves on how we treat the world. But my goal is to get them back up to that spot so that they can be in grace, connected to God, because everybody is like on this bungee cord hanging upside down from their head down in their root chakra, where all the fear is. That's where Lucifer lives. That's Satan lives in the 2nd chakra. These are the energy centers in our body. But all these different gnarly beings that make us do things that are not ourself, they're down in these lower centers where all of this like gross stuff is stored, from past life stuff to this life, other people's stuff to spirits. So my goal is to get them out of wherever they are and back up into their crown, connected to their higher self, so they can live life as their higher self. And I believe in Christ. So I teach them about how, like, when you become Christ, when you're like 14, that's when you start the ascension process. And you're learning how to use your emotions in the real world. You're a creator being. You can technically have kids when you're about 14, when you hit puberty. So God gives us the ability to ascend through all our different emotions and become mature like Jesus did. Jesus wasn't tempted by sin, because Jesus basically didn't have that little guy up there that could fall down. Jesus came in and he was already his soul. Like he was just, it was God. He couldn't sin because he was, you sin when you fall off of your soul's path, but if you are your soul's path, you can't fall off of it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So
yeah, but at the same time, I keep thinking of Bethany laying in a hospital bed. What good does all this knowledge of being born, standing over your head, and
the knowledge
being in the leg and this kind of stuff? What does that have to do with the psyche of a person who's laying there with cancer expecting to die?
Absolutely nothing. And that's why I was telling her, I said,
why would you waste time going through something like that?
Well,
when what she's looking for is peace. And Jesus has made it clear to us the only way you're going to find peace is through him.
And people find peace when they believe. So if she goes, oh my God. So this is what I told her. I said, in the channeling, they said something about like, when you were 16, your soul left, you died. and then a walk-in came in. So that was me seeing kind of like her soul leaving, and then something else coming in. And then they said 9 years ago, an imposter soul came in and took over. So you had two souls sitting in your field operating. That's cancer. I mean, that's like two selves is like two different types of cells. That's like a anarchist, like cells in your body, like the cancer, rebellious cells. That's like having two souls in your body. Your body can't exist with two souls in it. That's two paths. It just doesn't work. And they connect in through the heart, which is where breast cancer would be. So just sharing that stuff with her. So she says 9 years ago, she went and saw John of God. You've heard about John of God, right?
He's John of God?
John of God.
No, I don't know.
Gross. I would never ever. So he was a big thing for a while. Everybody wanted to go see him because he was a trance channel that does what I do, but he would do like surgeries, but like without like anything. He would just like do all these healings. So he would heal people, and he would like channel and do all this stuff. I don't remember where he is, like Chile or something like that. I don't remember where he was. Well, he just got arrested for like molesting and raping all these young women that would come see him. So he's like in jail now. I know. But John of God was who Wayne Dyer went to get healed of cancer. So anyways, she went back in her calendar and she goes, oh my gosh, that's when I went and saw John of God. And I do not like John of God. When people would come to see me, I'd be like, what is going on here? Why is your energy split? It's like someone stole your soul or something. Like what happened 5 years, 6 days, and 4 months ago? And they'd be like, oh, that's when I went and saw John of God. It's like he like steals their soul. So knowing where
what would Bethany do now? 9 years ago, her soul got traded out. What's her response?
We called her back.
What's that?
We brought her soul back.
You brought it back. You prayed to God, asked that the original soul to come back.
Yeah. Well, what we had to do is
now the way I pray. Let me just tell you, people, how I pray. It's very quick, very easy. We all have a team. We have a spirit of God. We have a soul within us. We have the Holy Spirit that encircles us and lights us up bright when we ask it to. We have assigned guides. We have assigned angels. We have a team. We have a whole team. I don't know. It might be 10, 12, various entities from the other side. So when I'm asked to pray for somebody I don't know, and I've said this many times before, and somebody asked me to call me, hey, Joe, can you pray for my best friend's daughter who just found out she had leukemia? Well, I don't even know who his best friend is, much less his daughter. So what I do is I go to my team. I say, okay, team, I don't know this little girl, but if it isn't meant to be, can you please go over there and help her team help her? So I'm thinking, if I was you and I was sitting there with Bethany, I would be making that prayer right in front of her, saying, look, I'm gonna turn my team over to your team, and they need to go to work and find out if this is really the highest and best for you. And if it isn't, it's just like my dad's broken back. I mean, he was ready for surgery, but God told him how to fix it, and he fixed it. So
yeah, that's what I told her. I told her you should not be walking around.
I'm just thinking, I know everybody thinks of you as being new agey and what have you, and channeling and all this other stuff, but Jesus made it clear from the beginning of us doing this, that we're doing this to glorify him and glorify the peace that he brings us. And so if he's not brought in to a session, then to me, it seems like you're just dealing with false gods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he comes in as, I think last night he came in as Emmanuel, but usually I just channel Christ. So I won't be like, oh, Jesus is here or whatever. Like I think for her, Melchizedek kept coming in. I was like, get out of here, Melchizedek. Melchizedek was a fake guide coming in, because when they come in at my 10 o'clock, so say 12 o'clock's right in front of me, 10 would be like right here. When they come in at 10 o'clock, it's Lucifer. That's where Lucifer stands. So if anything's standing over there on that side, I know for a fact it's the dark side. If it's over here on the right side, it's I have to discern based on where it is. If it's right in my face, it's an earthbound. If it's over here, it's kind of like my team, my guides, stuff like that. So I know where everything stands. So when something comes in and says, I am the original Christ, and it's standing over where the Antichrist stands, I'm like, okay, yeah, right. No, But anyone else that doesn't really have a diagram of like their field and have done so many hours of trying to figure out what was good and what's bad out of my pure sense of not paranoia, but I mean, you've been the biggest reason why I've been so careful, because it's like, it's one thing I go and throw my own soul under the bus, but to take your father down with you, like, hello, that's like the worst thing in the world. I'll go to 15,000 hells for that, and I'll feel bad forever. So I've been like, is this the real Jesus? Is Christ real? You know, when we first started doing this, I was always asking question after question after question. So all those charts I would do was pretty much to make sure that what we were connecting with was real and it was the right thing to do and everything. And, you know, we've found, we had that one, not Nehemiah, that one that was a creepy guide that came in that we took everything out of the book from him. I can't remember what,
oh gosh.
It was
that happened a few times, and it turned out one time I wasn't supposed to, because it was really somebody I really needed to be in the book, and that was the real Mark. You know, we were dealing with oh my God, we were dealing with another Mark that was dealing with Jesus at that time, and the real Mark who wrote the book. Somehow I kind of tossed him away.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, so and I would say that because I've become more Christian, I don't know. I've been going through this whole thing of like, who am I? What am I? What am I doing? Like, am I supposed to say I'm a psychic medium? Am I supposed to say I'm this? Am I supposed to say I'm that? And I kind of came to the revelation today in my AI class that I'm taking, that it doesn't matter what I call myself. It doesn't matter what I call myself. I'm a higher self channel. I talk to my higher self. My higher self talks to God. And I say what comes through basically to people, and I teach other people to do the same thing. Because I mean, everybody can agree that we have a lower self and a higher self. Everyone can agree that we have that really crappy self. Uh-oh, this phone just died. We have that really crappy self that just rips people a new one if they make us mad. And then we have the self that's much more patient and kind and considerate. And if you want to just look at it as like Reiki is basically the highest level of emotion that you can experience. It's just pure happiness that you're
you teach right Reiki. What is Reiki, and why do you teach it?
I teach it because it saved me from myself. When I went to a yoga class, and I showed up for this hot yoga class, getting ready to like work out at this place called Soul of Yoga down the street from our office in Encinitas. And I went in for this workout, and they were doing all this slow yoga where you just lay still for like 5 minutes at a time. And I was like, what kind of yoga is this? I was expecting like a workout. And some lady came over and she touched my back. And that was after I had the 2 accidents, the one in 2008, one in 2009, where I met my higher self and kind of seen myself like dying beneath me. So I had really, really bad back pain. And she took the back pain away. It was just gone. I was like, what in the world? I ran up to the teacher after the class and I said, who touched me? What happened? I don't have any back pain anymore. I want to learn how to do whatever they did. And she goes, oh, it's called Reiki. And I was like, oh, huh? So I signed up that day. I signed up for the class and started taking it with her, still not even knowing what it was. But after years and years of like learning about it and studying it and kind of, kind of doing Reiki, but not really doing my own version in the beginning, I've grown to respect it a lot, because it's not a religion. It's just a spiritual practice of self-awareness.
Energy. It's energy healing.
It's energy healing, but it's emotion healing.
Manifesting the energies that are around us. What is that thing called? That energy thing. You always see this picture of the Earth, and then there's this big energy field.
The torus, the electromagnetic field.
There's a specific name for it.
Taurus,
but that's going on all around us. We have electricity going around us we can't see. I mean, with just energy, with so much energy, we don't even know what's in it, and yet we're living in it. We just can't see it.
Well,
that's a big thing. Anyway, go ahead.
We get pulled into other people's energy. Well, speaking of energy, like they have tests.
Yeah, that would be
studies where if you're listening to somebody talk and their energy is, say, going backwards because they're in a bad mood. So when we get in a bad mood, we lose our head. That's how I see it. I see it like a little coil, and we're like a jack in the box, and our head goes boing, and it's just like we lose our head. So our head's boinging around. And if our head is unhinged, if we come uncoiled or whatever, then we're gonna basically grasp on to any emotion or any feeling or any person around, because we're not connected to ourselves. So say we're watching somebody that's in a bad mood and they're spinning backwards, their chakras are going backwards, we're going to automatically attune to them. If we're not attuned to God, if we're not attuned to our own body, if we're not tuned into our own energy, we'll automatically just duplicate whatever that person's doing. The movie called Soul was kind of cute. It was by Disney, where the souls would like look at something and then they'd become each other. They go bloop, 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 and they're like, oops. And they just kept duplicating each other. Like they would look at each other and then each other.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See,
It's cute.
I haven't seen
It's cute. It's cute. But the basically the soul's whatever your soul looks at it, it kind of basically becomes or whatever. So you have to be very careful to not take on other people's energy, because if you do, then you turn into a different person, and then you go and you rip the head off of your wife or your kids or your husband or whatever and take out your day on them. And then you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that or done that with them. Like, why did I act so crazy? So I think that in answer to your question about like in healings and stuff, if people can be told you're not that bad of a person, okay, you had energy from someone else in your field, like basically giving them the get out of jail free card. Yeah, you went nuts in that bar that one night and beat that guy up because he looked at your wife because you had a spirit in your energy field. They're like, oh good, hey wife, I had a spirit in my energy field, that's why I knocked that guy out. But people like to understand why they do the things they do, because we all know the things that we do. We don't understand why we do the things that we don't do, the things that we shouldn't be doing, and we still do them. And everybody wants to know why they do that, because they want to know why they can't control their mind. So to know that they can get attachments and things that can control their mind without them realizing it, I think almost gives people a little bit of gratitude to like, oh wow, there are other pieces of me that are in the driver's seat here, not just me or God. You know, they know we have a lower self, we have entities and attachments. And I guess that's the biggest thing that I do with Reiki is, and this isn't a Reiki thing. Reiki is basically just balancing everybody's emotions out to being with all their chakras balanced, so that they're connected to their higher self or their spirit. I go beyond that when we go into Christ, because I think Christ is higher than Reiki. And I think that quantum healing is higher than like everything. It's just witnessing healing. But the I just heard a clank over there and I just got knocked out of what I was saying. Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask you. No, I was gonna relate a little story
Uh-huh.
and then bring it right back to you.
Okay.
My golfer buddy many years ago, his son was a police officer in Texas, and he was chasing a criminal, and he chased him into a lake, and John's son, police officer, drowned and died. And he was just, he was just, I mean, beyond the words heartbroken. Obviously,
Yeah.
any parent losing a child, but losing it that way, because he
Yeah.
didn't even swim, yet he was still, something within him had him chase this guy into the water, and he succumbed to it. His daughter went cuckoo. Just when her brother died, she just went cuckoo. She couldn't find any peace. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't do anything. She missed him so much, and so anyway, John somehow, some way, found call it a psychic or
Medium.
a clairvoyant or a medium or something.
Mediums talk to dead people.
And I believe it was a lady, and she was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they contacted her and wanted to know how much it would cost for the daughter to come in and see her, to see if she can find some peace or something. And he said, yeah, it's $1,000 an hour. So they went. She paid the $1,000, went and saw this medium. And the medium said that it was his plan that this happened, that it was for their own experiences and not just his, and that he's perfectly fine where he is right now, and that you need to live your life to the fullest and know that your time will come, not when you know it, but it will come, and there will be a reason for it. So love your brother, realize he's with God, it's basically what he said. And they found a lot of peace in that. They went away from that and they had peace. They realized, he's gone. We now know that he's in a good place or whatever. Anyway, so this guy charged. Now this was, oh God, when did he tell me about that? I got in trouble because I wrote about it in an article, and he got
upset.
That
was back in like 11, right? 2013.
12 or 13, 11, 12, somewhere in there. So here in New York, somebody's charging $1,000 an hour.
That's how much I was. I mean, I was charging a lot when I was
12 years ago.
Yeah, that's a lot.
If somebody contacts you and asks you what you charge for being a medium, or how much do you charge for me to take your Reiki classes to learn how to become a Reiki not instructor, a Reiki
Reiki healer
practitioner.
practitioner. Uh-huh.
So how do you respond to people? Where
I
are
say I
you?
charge
Don't be
$600
afraid.
an hour, $600 an hour, or they can get a 20-minute reading from me for $200 before class. And I do like a group thing where, you know, like 5 people can get a reading done before my Wednesday or Sunday night class. Cause I want to spend as little time in the ethers as possible because I have obviously 2 young kids, and then there's Anya, but she's not here right now. But, you know, I want to not be like floating around the ethers talking to spirits all the time, which is how I was when I was back home, you know, before moving here. So I try to narrow it down to like, okay, if I'm going to connect in with spirit and I'm going to do readings, I'm going to do it right before I do class on Wednesday or Sunday, because I'm already going to be like out of it. Yeah, I tell people I charge $600, and you can share the reading with somebody if you want to, but you're not going to want to. And then I tell them they can pay me payments if they want to. But usually people
And
come and
they tape them, don't they? Don't most people tape their sessions with you?
I tape them.
So they can. Oh, you tape them and then you give them copies
Like
of
Pam
the
did.
recordings.
Pam did a reading with me recently, and then with the Patreons, at least I tell them they can use their monthly fee that they pay to pay for class up front. So some of them pay $150. I tell them that they can use that towards their reading, you know, if they want to get a reading or whatever. So I give them big breaks for being Patreons, even though that's a nonprofit site and I don't make any money off of it. Yeah, I did a healing for Pam. So Pam, do you mind if I share your story just a little bit? Like, she was in like this major funk.
Just don't say where she lives,
Okay.
who she is, how old she is, what country she lives. Just somebody by the name of Pam.
She lost her, I believe it was her mom and her, well, this is what I saw. This is what I remember. And it was a very emotional moment for her and I will never forget this moment. It was her mom waiting at the gates of heaven for her sister. And so the sister had been, I think, shot and killed by her boyfriend or husband. I don't remember the exact story. Pam can share it here if she wants to, but the shot in a fit of rage, they were fighting. He shot her and then turned the gun on himself and shot himself. So she has spent her entire life pretty much trying to make sure that her sister's kids were okay and taken care of because they had small children. So she tried to fight for them and everything. The guides came through and told her it's a good thing that you didn't get the children. Otherwise, your children would have ended up like addicts and alcoholics and out doing whatever, because you would have been like, but they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent. And you would have given all your attention to your sister's kids, not your own. This is what I remember. And then the mom was who told me that, to tell her. The mom was so upset about the sister passing that the mom was never the same after that. And she, I think, died of like a broken heart. But it was amazing to watch that the mom waited because the sister was connected to Pam. The man that killed her sister was connected to Pam from the time that they died. So she had this attachment on her entire life for like the last, I think it was like 20 years. And we got him to cross over because he was attached into her, because he didn't want to cross over because he knew he was going to go to hell because he killed himself. So he attached into the first person that he could see. I'll plug into them and I'll stay here. And he was probably, you know, either just living in a dream world, obviously not like living day-to-day life, you know, with her, but his emotional state was her permanent emotional state because he was angry and he shot himself and shot the person that he loved. And so she just always had that underneath her. So she said after we crossed him over and she got peace that her mom and her sister were together and her sister was crossed over, she said that her life is completely different now. And she's written to me a few times and just said, my life is like she just couldn't she couldn't
get out of the darkness, and you showed her the light. And and now
removing that stuff. Yeah, removing that stuff. Sometimes we just need to remove.
Now she lives in the light. She lives in the light now.
Yeah.
Instead of living in that big black cloud of darkness.
Her difference after that day was probably very similar to you after you got baptized. You know, because just all the darkness just gets moved away. So it's like, oh my gosh, because you can believe in God. But if you have a spirit stuck to you that's like taking all your light, detaching you from God, it's like you're just going to get sick, or you're going to die, or you're going to, you know, get depressed, or it's just not even worth living when you're not connected to God. And I think that people, whether they want to call it God or believe in God or believe in whatever it is that I'm saying, they know inside that there's something that's in them that's light and there's something in them that's dark, and they like the way the light feels. And when they can connect to that, they feel good. It's like, you know, like me, I got attuned to Reiki and I just went, I never want to smoke again. I just didn't smoke, you know?
You used to smoke a lot and then you just quit.
Yeah. I just quit.
When I quit smoking cigarettes, I did the same thing. I just quit. I balled them up, and I was with my dad before he died, and I threw them in a trash can at a gas station. I didn't smoke again for quite a few years when I was very, 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 very stressed. And I was ready, because the smoker is never a non-smoker.
Drop back down. Yes. Your vibration went high.
Once you're a smoker, you're never a non-smoker, because you always knew that there was something when you took that first puff or whatever, you have this feel of relaxation or something comes over you. So that's what you equate smoking with, is that relaxation that comes to you. So that never goes away. And then when you get really stressed, you go, oh my gosh, the only way I'm going to get some peace is I need to go smoke. Well, I went in the store and I walked past the cigar rack and I bought a box of cigars instead.
Which I have a box in here.
Now I smoke cigars, but they're pure tobacco. You know, if it's going to kill me, it's going to kill me. But at least I'm not taking in chemicals. But anyway.
With smoking, I think it's also the breathing, that the fact that, like, if somebody was to just go like Uncle Loy or Uncle Tall, Mama says, smokes a Q-tip. He pretends like he's smoking and he smokes a Q-tip because he's in like the hospital or whatever. And since he can't smoke in there, Uncle Tall, like they give him a Q-tip and he pretends to smoke it. But I think that a lot of the times it's just the fact that you're breathing, taking a deep breath with intention, holding it and blowing it out, whether it has something in there or not. I think breathing has a lot to do with what calms us down. It's not necessarily, but I mean, the tobacco does too. But let's see here. Pam is not here. She's always here. She's usually here. But one thing that I remember about Pam saying is that her kids wouldn't even come around. They wouldn't even call her or want to hang out with her. And after we cut the cords and got the husband of her sister out of her field, everyone's all around her now. They want to be around her because they were sick and tired of feeling the energy of my sister died, and like it was just this constant energy in her that she didn't even know was there. So yeah,
okay. Well, listen, we're gonna keep this short today, and then we'll get back into the normal things that we do. Hopefully tomorrow. You want to do this at 1:30 instead of 1 o'clock?
Yeah, let's do it 1:30 tomorrow instead. Yeah, that's a good idea. Right. Because
that's 1:30 West Coast time, people. Hopefully somebody out there who just needed to watch this today will go ahead and tap that button on the top. It says learn more, and it'll take you right directly to Marissa's site, and you can learn a little bit more about her. You can see what kind of books we've got, and kind of yoga and meditations and things. A lot of things there. You'll understand about Marissa.
I'm working on my site right now. I'm so excited. I got my MarissaMorris.com back up and running. And I'm going to get all the stuff that I'm learning. You guys, I'm probably going to be wanting to teach this AI stuff because it's amazing. And remember,
it's Morris with one R, M-O-R-I-S, just one
M-A-R-I-S-A, M-O-R-I-S.com. But this AI stuff, I think God uses AI because this is what I'm going to try and prove or not
I'm
prove.
Scared to death of AI. I think AI is going to be the end of humanity.
I don't think so. If it's used as a tool, I think it's okay. But this is the crazy thing. I was going, okay, guides, I want a message. So if you can bring me a message, I want you to bring it through the AI. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a message from the guides. Blah, 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 this is my question. And it comes back with an answer. And it's weird because it's like I would write down what the guides are saying to me and it would come back with kind of the same thing, but you can really turn anything into anything. So my whole idea behind this is people are going to hear what they want to hear, but they're going to hear what's coming through to them intuitively, but they don't believe that they can hear intuitively. They don't believe that they're connected to God and that God's talking to them. So if it takes like a tarot card, which I don't like, or, some of these angel cards are really creepy, but these cards, if it takes looking at a card and going, oh, it's because the card means this, this, and this, and then they just see what they need to see. That's how people do readings for themselves. So I think the AI can be used to do readings on ourselves, and I'm going to try and prove it. I'm super excited about it. But yeah, it is pretty creepy that these AIs are so smart, and they basically are taking away all the jobs. There's going to be no actors or actresses because you can just create from text. You can create a video. You can say 2 actors walking down the street talking about this, this, and that, and it'll create them. And they're not real people. They're just.
I know somebody just came out with a movie that it took them 2 weeks to make a movie using AI.
Actors and actresses. Well, see, this is the thing that's going to.
And think of the money. Think of the money. I mean, how much money is saved by being able to do that?
Yeah,
but I don't understand.
Like, I'm not going to act right now.
I don't necessarily. I think that AI is good because, like, when I want to look something up, I don't have to go in my car and drive to a library now. I can push a button on the side of my phone and say, "Hey Siri, what are the names of the moons of Jupiter?" And within the snap of
listen. Orbits at an average distance of 384,400 kilometers, about 30.
She just answered you.
She's answering my question. I mean, that's
Hey Siri, stop. I mean, so when she heard you and she started answering.
I think of all the time that I spent in a library when I was in college, studying and moving from one book to another. If we would have had computers in the 70s and AI, my God, I would have been surfing every day, all day, and then just do a little 10-minute AI and be done with my class.
I know, right? That's going to make the world very different. Look at this. I want to show you this really quick. I want to show them because I can present it on the screen. I can show the share screen. I just want to show them this thing really quick. This is amazing, you guys. If you are an author, go to this site. It's called Poe. You can upload your book. I haven't read most of our books. I've read me and my dad's books. I've listened to all of our books. I haven't read me and Bill's books. I uploaded the books and I wrote, I said, analyze this book basically from a Christian theological perspective. And it went through and basically analyzed it, reincarnation, past lives. It read it. It took 17 seconds for it to come back with all of these answers.
To read the whole book and come up with a summation. Yeah. That's amazing.
And then I said, then I asked it to give me 5 pros and 5 cons of the book based on, from a Christian theologist, a genius person that also knows all the other religions. So it gave me the pros and the cons. And then I said, okay, well, please come up with some quotes from the book that are worthy of posting on social media. And with each quote, create something insightful as if you were a reader of the book and you're sharing a testimonial on how this book has changed your life, made it better. Make sure the testimonial is only 2 sentences. So it comes up with all these quotes from our book. They're all here. And then down here, it says the quote, and then it has a little, this quote opened my eyes to how connecting to my higher self can empower and change my life. And then it's another quote, learning to embrace these words have brought me so much peace in my relationships. It's like, are you joking me? Do you know how much time we could have saved? I mean, this is just so much. It's processing our words that we wrote and it's understanding them. It's like, how in the world? And then this thing right here, I created this with my words. I said, I want someone who's half healer and half regular everyday person. So I said, I want the everyday person to be in 2024 clothing. And I want the healer to be, I want the healer to be on the right and the regular person to be on the left. And so that's basically like half healer, half intuitive, or half a regular person. Cause I'm going to start teaching healers to be healers again and help you guys get out into the world. Isn't that cool? Look at regular on one side, but I created that with my words. I just described what I wanted and then it made it for me.
That's
great.
Like,
yeah, it's the coolest thing. See, I have like the regular people, and then I have like that's what they really are inside. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So, anyways, I'm super amped on.
Yeah, our 30 minutes has gone to 50. So let's go ahead and wrap it up for today. I got to get to work with Tawny. I got to work on her homework.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, and you got to go pick up your kids here real soon.
Yep, I'm gonna go get them. So yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So
in fact, your kids are already out of school. No, they aren't.
No, 1 hour.
No,
1 hour. Yeah, Jeff isn't
even home yet. It's almost 3:30 here. I was thinking.
You're an hour later. So.
Yeah, that's
right. I'm gonna go help clean the house. The housekeepers are here.
That's going to change real soon. They're going to change the time again.
I thought they declared to not have. I thought they declared.
No, in Mexico we don't change time. We're on perpetual daylight savings time here.
Yeah, I thought that's what they decided to do here. They decided to not have daylight savings anymore.
No, you changed your clocks back just before Halloween or just after
I just
Halloween.
remember it's fall back, spring forward, but I just remember everyone complaining about the fact that they took daylight savings away. But I guess it's
so you're going to spring forward up to my time.
Yeah,
we'll be on the same time when we change. So anyway, okay, let's go.
I'm going to help clean the house. The housekeepers are here. So
all right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Hopefully
Bye, everyone.
You learned something about this, and something about this might have helped you. But we'll be back hopefully tomorrow. And we'll get into some readings and see what comes out of it. All right. So anyway, go ahead, wrap it up.
Oh, you guys go to my type in Marissa Morris in Spotify and go to my newest and my podcast. It says Intuition Media Meditation Station and listen to all the music I've been channeling to lately. I have like Ozzy Osbourne. I have like Mama I'm Coming Home. I have Fleetwood Mac. I have just tons and tons and tons of music that I've been channeling to, and I have it all uploaded into that podcast. So go check it out, follow it, and you'll get notified when I upload stuff. It's only on Spotify, though. It's not on Apple Music yet. It will be soon, though. Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.